Aloha and welcome to Knitted Paradise, where the needles are clicking and the yarn is squishy. My name is Lucia and I'm your hostess, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Pearl of the Pacific. Today is Friday. It's Friday morning actually, and it's September 5th, and this is episode 39. I tried to record on Monday and ran into difficulties with camera and computer, and so finally it just got too late. I was like, never mind, I'm just gonna give it a few days and try it again later. So hopefully I have everything figured out now and this goes smoothly. All right, let's start with Blow the Conch shell. August is obviously over, and so is the August knit along, and I pulled a winner for that, and it was entry number 19, who is Blonde Catalog. So please get in touch with me with your real name and mailing address, and I will ship out a skein of lovely yarn to you. And that leaves us with the September knit along, which is vacation themed. So similar to the August back to school knit along, anything that reminds you of vacation, maybe it's yarn you bought on vacation that you haven't wanted to knit yet, this is your chance to do it. Maybe it's a project you started on vacation and never finished. Stuff like that. If you have questions, post in the chatter thread on Ravelry, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Also, feel free to post progress pictures. We'd love to see, either pictures of your vacation that are inspiring your knitwear, or, progress of where you're at in the project. We'd love to see them. October, since we're going through the months here, is going to be my 1-year podiversary. And so I think we're going to do a swap. I've placed a poll on the Ravelry board, which I know some of you have responded to. If you haven't, go and check it out. And it looks like it might be a sock swap theme. Not that you knit a pair of socks, but that you swap a pair of, or a skein of, sock yarn from your favorite indie dyer. It probably won't be a secret swap because those are harder to deal with. But, maybe it'll be a skein of yarn and maybe a pattern, maybe like a sock kit or something, since a lot of people, I know I'm addicted to socks, and I know a lot of people in our group are addicted to socks. So it might be something themed around socks. We'll figure it out. We've still got a month, right? Yeah. All right, well, let's jump into the knitting. I think that's it for announcements. And I have a few things on the island. I also finished a lot of things, so we'll get to that in a bit. So currently, I still have my Medano beach bag out of Berroco Pure Pima. And, the pattern's by Heidi Kirmaier. And this is it so far. And it's a pretty long bag. I think I knit it longer than you're supposed to. I have started the straps. Got part of one on this side. But I don't have a whole lot of yarn left, so I might end up ripping back. This is where I was last week, so you can see where I've gotten. I haven't worked on it in a few days. But I may rip back and start the straps sooner so that they can be a little longer, because right now they're not going to be very long. So that's kind of resting for the moment, but hopefully I will finish that up soon. The other thing is my Harry Potter Gryffindor scarf. Hasn't gotten any attention this week, so I won't show it to you. And I'd cast on something new since I finished a bunch of things. I'm kind of at the end of my batch. I've talked about this before, where I kind of knit in batches. I cast on a whole bunch of things, and then I knit on them slightly simultaneously, and then kind of have a casting off party. So last weekend I had a casting off party, which means this week I had a casting on party. So I cast on a real shawl, or a lace shawl. I don't remember who it's by, I'll have to look. It's a pattern I got for participating in the yarn crawl, one of the stores. It was their free pattern giveaway. And it's out of Fleur de Fibre, Asbury, and Police Box. And that's what I have so far. Oops, sorry. I have just the stockinette portion. and I'm not even done with it. I cast it on last night at choir and just knit away. And yeah, so the stockinette portion won't take very long, but the lace portion will take a little longer. Oh, here, I have the pattern in here. I made a copy of it so that I could throw it in my bag, because I tend to crumple them while they're in my bag. It doesn't say who it's by. Oh, Amanda Lane. And that's what it looks like. Ta-da! So it'll have a nice lace border. I think it'll be a crescent shawl. So I am working away on that. Yep, there we go. And that's my little skein bag. I might move it to a smaller bag, but all my smaller bags were taken up at the moment. Hadn't taken the yarn scraps out, and at the end of my batch I kind of take everything out of my yarn bags, and I don't clean them, but I empty them out basically and then put new projects in them. So that's one that was empty, so I put it in there. That's it for on the needles. I did knit a couple swatches this week. I think this is one. Here's the other one. Because I'll skip to On the Horizon now. I have the Tea Leaves cardigan, and which is by Melissa Labar, and I'm doing that out of Sun Valley Fibers MC and worsted in Smoke Signals. I'll talk about that yarn in a bit, but I knit up a swatch, and I guess this is the bottom. So the bottom I did on the cubics, the square needles, and the top I did on, it's the same size, but I did on my Addy Turbos because I couldn't find my size 7 Novas. So I did on my Addy, I guess my Addy Clicks on the top, not the lace ones, the regular ones. And I measured the gauge, and the round needles are only half a stitch for 4 inches. I got, I think, 19 stitches for the cubics and 19 and a half stitches for the round. So my gauge is a little tighter on round needles. That was something I had talked about, I don't know, I can't remember if it was last week or last time I recorded that didn't get saved. So, but there is a gauge difference, just a slight gauge difference, half a stitch for 4 inches, so that's good to know. And so I'm really excited to start that. And the other one is I'm going to do the Arezzo Tank by Elizabeth Green Musselman, and I'm doing it out of Rowan Creative Linen in Foggy, and that's my swatch. And the bottom part I did on 4s, and then I switched to 3s, and then I switched to 3 in the round, which is why there's all these in the back. And I realized after starting to swatch that the pattern is written for Lindy Chain, which is Knit Pick's new cotton linen yarn, and it's written for, and that's a fingering weight yarn, and this is a DK weight yarn. So I thought, well, I'll see if I can make it work. So I did a swatch, as I do with garments, and my swatch unblocked was actually more stitches per inch than the pattern calls for. So I haven't measured it block. It's still a little damp. I washed it last night, and it's still kind of damp just because it's really humid here. And so I'm going to measure it a little later once it's drier and see if that changed my gauge at all. And but it looks like the DK will work with the pattern, so I'm happy about that. I'll put that back on the blocking board to dry. So that's what's on the needles and next on the needles, and plus a couple other little things that you'll see next week, I guess. So that's it for On the Island. Oh, no, it's not. You ready? This is not a knitting related thing. This is not a knitting related thing. So Dan Jones, get ready. I don't know if you watched this. If you don't know, Bakery Bears podcast on YouTube. Dan and Kay, you should totally check them out. They're awesome. But Dan is really into Lego, and we are also really into Lego. So here, Dan Jones, this is for you. This is my in progress Parisian restaurant. And if you follow me on Instagram, I bought this, I guess, last weekend as a reward for getting a new job. Not at the Lego store. I got a new job. It's within the same company, but it's a different department. And this was my reward. I had been wanting this set for a really long time, and so I made a deal with myself that when I got a new job, I could buy this set. So, got a new job, I could buy this set. So I've done about half of it so far. This is the bottom floor. This is the restaurant part. Then you have an apartment, and then you have a little artist studio, which you'll see later. This is the front of the restaurant, and it's called Chez Albert. And there's a little lamppost and a bench, and some tables outside with flowers and a croissant. And then inside, you've got the restaurant. So you've got the kitchen over here with the chef with the turkey that just fell off the stove. And then you've got this couple sitting and eating in the cafe, and the waiter. Oh, let's pick up that turkey before it makes a ton of noise. Turkey, trying to run away on me. And there's so much detail in this. It's incredible. I wanted to show you. So here's the back. There's a dumpster with stuff in it. Like, they give you stuff to put in the dumpster. Like bits of cheese and bones and stuff. And there's a trash can with a little rat. And there's even a drain pipe that goes into a drain. Like, how awesome is that? I think it's one of my favorite little details so far. And the curtains on the tables are so amazing with the little lamps and everything. And I mean, even the kitchen, there's details everywhere. There's a little dial on the stove. There's things for the fridge. I'd open it up, but then they'd fall out, just like the turkey that needs to go back in here. And it's incredible. I love this set. I'm so excited by it. I hope to build the rest of it this weekend. But that's my other in progress on the island. All right, set sail. Let's finally get to some finished things. I have a plethora of finished objects. We'll start with the socks. There are multiple socks. I finished 2 pairs of socks. Yay! They were both pretty close. This is Expanding Community by Megan Williams, and it's out of Knitted Wit and Frosted Cedar. And I love this pattern. It was really quick to knit, really easy to learn, and I highly recommend it. Very well written as well. So that's that pattern, and this one is The Architect of Rivendell, and these I knit out of Knit Pick Stroll and Pearl Essence. And there's a lattice detail on the toe, and then it's a lot of twisted ribbing. It's a lot of purling. So if you don't like purling or twisted stitches, this is not the pattern for you. I don't mind either of those ones, so I enjoyed it. And then there's a lattice detail up at the top. If you do knit these, I would recommend going up a needle size for this part right here. I didn't, and I realized that it's a little tight. It still fits over my foot, so it's fine. But if I had thought about it, I probably would have gone up a needle size, because there's a lot of cabling right here, and so it pulls it in, and that's my recommendation. But on both of these, I did the heel as written, which is not usually what I do. Usually I put my own heel in. So this was my back to school learning. I tried the heel as written. This is the Spacious OMG heel, and this is just it's a pretty basic heel flap. These were both knit toe up. So that I had to do some finagling on the heel, because I started turning it and then realizing it wasn't quite long enough and had to add some. So those are both done. And then I finished 2 shawls, 2 socks and 2 shawls. Woo! Here, I'll take this one out first. This one you've seen before. This is Magrathea. Ta-da! It's finally done, and it's really long. And this is out of 3 Irish Girls bamboo cotton, no, where is it? I have it in my show notes here. Bamboo cotton fingering in chameleon. Ta-da. And the pattern's by Martina Bain. And it's beautiful. I'm really excited about this. It's really, it's because it's bamboo cotton, I can still wear it in the late summer as it turns to early fall. And it's a lot greener than it's coming out on screen, but it's very pretty. I'm very excited. And the other thing I finished was something that you've actually never seen on my needles before because I started it and finished it. And it is the Tan House Brick Shawl by Jennifer Lassonde of the Down Cellar Studio podcast. And it's out of Apple Tree Knits in Plush DK in the Rainy Day Gradient colorway. And here it is. Ta-da! And it is beautiful. I love the gradient. I love how it knit up in this pattern. The pattern was really easy and really fun to knit. It doesn't get boring because as soon as you're like, oh my god, I don't want to do this stitch anymore, it changes to a totally different one. And then you're like, oh, this one's exciting. And then as soon as you get bored with that, it changes to another one. So I highly recommend this pattern. I can see why a lot of people are knitting it and knitting multiples of it. And so that was that. I took that on a trip I went on for work and started it on the airplane and finished it the next day. It was that fast. I mean, I did do the worsted weight version because it was out of a very plump DK. And oh, I tried my cubics out on that. That was the first time I actually knit with them. And I really enjoyed them. They were really nice to knit with. I thought I would have to get used to them because of the squareness versus the roundness, but I actually kind of enjoyed the squareness. It was really easy to, they're also a little pointier than other needles that I have, and so because of the squareness, it kind of, stitches are round and the needles were square. It was very easy to pick up stitches and pass them over, or during the bind off or during the textured stitch or some other things, and so I found that really nice. It was actually a lot easier than I've run into, because I've done that same textured stitch in other patterns and it was a lot easier on the cubics. Maybe it was also because it was a very loose gauge, but it was also just easier on the cubics. So that's why I decided to try on this swatch to try the cubics and then round needles to see how much my gauge was different, because this was knit entirely on cubics, so I had nothing to compare it to. So it is a tad bit looser, but not a ton. It's not, 2 stitches off. It's half a stitch off per 4 inches. So that's definitely within range of adjustability for knitting gauge. All right, that's it for set sail. 4 things. That's a lot. Let's see. I already did on the horizon. I have some things from the mainland. Alright, I'm going to move that over there, like a pile. And, alright, let's start with on the island. Or, not on the island, where am I? From the mainland. I'm going to show some more yarn from stitches. I've been kind of showing it in categories, and last time, I showed yarn that I bought to knit things for other people, and I realized I missed one. So, I'm going to dip into that for a minute and then we'll head on to today's category. This is a skein of Dragonfly Fibers. No, I don't know how to pronounce that. If you do, please tell me. It's the Merino Cashmere Nylon, so it's an MCN base. In hot pants. It is bright pink. It is that bright. It's awesome. I'm not usually drawn to this color because this is not really my color, but the person who these are going to be socks for loves this color, so I'm okay knitting with it. It feels amazing, so I'm really excited about that. That will be socks for a friend of mine. So today's category is sweater quantities. I bought a few. I didn't really knit sweaters a lot before this summer. I knit one for my husband last summer, which I still need to fix. And then I knit 2 for myself this summer. And now I'm really into sweater knitting because they actually fit me now, so that's really exciting. Cat hair. So I'll start with the one you kind of already know about. I went to Sun Valley Fibers in search of the perfect sweater gray. I went into Stitches knowing I wanted to get a sweater's worth of gray, and I looked all over the place for the perfect gray. But some were too dark, they were too light, they were too warm, they were too cool. I felt like Goldilocks in the Three Bears cottage. It was ridiculous. Anyway, I finally walked into Sun Valley Fibers and I said, that's it. That's the gray I want. And she didn't actually have it in the base that I wanted, in the quantity that I needed. So I did a special order, and she shipped it to me. I ordered it at Stitches and then she shipped it to me later. So this is it. So this is Smoke Signals, and it's her MCN worsted base. And there you go, sunvalleyfibers.com. And it's this gorgeous squishy gray. I can't wait. So that's what this swatch is out of. I've already wound up the rest of the balls and then knit that swatch. And that will become the Tea Leaves cardigan. I also got some Madelinetosh in Aurora from the Webb's booth because they were having a sale. And it's kind of a gray overdyed in denim is what I would describe this. And this is vintage. This is Tosh vintage. And I think this is going to become the Ease cardigan. Not the Ease cardigan, the Ease sweater. And which is just kind of a nice loose pullover thing with kind of a short cowl neck. And so I think that's what that's going to become. And then last but certainly not least, I visited Miss Babs and got a gigantic skein. This thing is 1,750 yards of fingering weight. I knew I wanted a fingering weight sweater's worth, so here it is in Giganto version. And this is a Babette in first choice. So a Babette is something that she dyed that wasn't exactly what she intended it to be, but here it is in all its glory. And this thing, I don't know how I'm going to wind this because it's so big. I mean, it's as big as my head practically. Yeah, it is literally as big as my head, or bigger. But I love it. I have no idea what this is going to become, but it'll be a sweater of some sort. Alright, what else is in my bucket over here? Oh, I also got a bag from Amy Beth of the Fat Squirrel. Yeah, I finally got a bag. Last time, or not last time, a couple times ago when she had an update, she had these gorgeous horse bags with like a girl riding an Appaloosa horse through fields of awesomeness. And I kind of hesitated. I was like, oh, should I get the bag? Should I not get the bag? And I was like, no, just get the bag, Lucia. And of course, by that time, which was like 4 minutes after the update, it was gone. And so I was really sad about that. I really wanted that bag, but that's okay. I'll live. It's just a bag. But this time, I knew what I wanted ahead of time, and I clicked fast. It's all about clicking fast. Ninja skills, right? So I got this little birdie bag. It's a sock size bag. Well, you could probably stick a shawl in here. It's a nice, square bottom and nice zipper pull. I love the inside fabric. Very well coordinated with the outside fabric. Yes. And so I'm really excited about that. She also gives lavender sachets with all her bags, so I've been keeping it in here. It smells amazing. And oh, on the packaging, I wanted to show you this. She drew me a little picture. It says, "Hi, Lou," and there's a little adorable sheep on it. Isn't that cute? I just thought that was so cute. So thanks, Amy Beth. All right, that's it from the mainland for this week. Flora and fauna. Since we're in September and we're talking about vacations, I want to talk about travel knitting a little bit. I just went on a work trip last week and I took two things with me. I took the Tan House Brook shawl and I took my Rivendell socks because I really wanted to get those done. And the way I decide travel knitting, I thought I'd talk about that a little bit as I put things back in my bucket. I like to take a variety of different things. I like to take something that's simple and, slightly mindless, and then I like to take something that's a little more complicated. And sometimes I'll take one thing that's really big, a more complicated project, and then, something that's small and a little quicker. It's nice to have variety on your trip so that, whatever mood you're in, you can knit whatever takes your fancy at the moment. I also, like when I took the Tan House Brook shawl, I took it as yarn and needles. And for a shawl, I don't necessarily knit a gauge swatch, but for a garment, I would have, knit the gauge swatch ahead of time and taken the correct needle size. I haven't ever had problems with needles on planes, and I have traveled to Europe with metal needles and back into the United States, at least once with knitting needles, and I haven't ever had a problem, so that's good. But I was watching the Homespun House podcast with Molly. That's another one. If you don't watch it, you should totally check it out. And she just went away with her husband and daughter for a few weeks, and she took a few projects, and she was mentioning how she wished she would have taken something, instant gratification project kind of to go in between some of her longer ones. And I can totally understand that. If you're going on a longer trip, like when I went to Europe, I took a variety of different things. I took one pair of socks that I needed to fix for my mother, so those were a very quick thing, and then I could give them to her if she was there. I took a pair of socks that I hadn't cast on yet, so then I knew I had the whole trip to knit this pair of socks. And what else did I take? I took a shawl and lace shawl, which I did end up working on a lot. And I think I took another skein of yarn for socks, which I didn't end up getting into. But it was nice that I didn't have too much, but I had enough. That's kind of, it's hard when you're going on a trip to kind of measure that balance of not taking too much knitting but taking enough knitting. When I went to Gen Con, I felt like I took too much knitting, just in case, I did a really horrible job packing for that one because I packed really last minute. So I felt like I took too much knitting, and then sometimes I feel bad when I can't get to it on a trip. I'm like, oh, I feel bad because I didn't get to that project. Don't feel bad. You can do it when you get home. But it's nice, I had choices, but sometimes it's nice when you're going on a shorter trip to just take, maybe one, maybe two things, so that, you have choice, but you don't have too many choices. On my work trip, I had two options, and those got a lot of attention, which was awesome because they were two things that I really wanted to get, on and off the needles. And so that was a great way to do it because I didn't have too many choices. I was like, well, I have to knit on these socks because I finished the shawl, And so that was a good way of getting something done, was that I didn't have an option besides reading the book that I took. So I had, for knitting, I had one option once I finished the shawl, which made huge progress on the socks, which was awesome. All right, well, before I ramble on and on, I think I will leave it at that. And I have to head out to a work picnic today, which is why it's Friday morning and I'm recording. Normally I'm not home on Friday mornings. But since I ran into technical difficulties, I thought, hey, I'll just get this out of the way and hopefully things will go smoothly this time and we won't run into any problems. So hope you are doing well. Enjoy the week and weekend, and I will see you all soon. Bye!